Fuel is flowing out of Port Everglades after historic flooding in Broward County. A case of mistaken identity.
As a result of these charges, a warrant was issued for Mr. Lester's arrest.
Leads to a teenager being rushed to the hospital. New legislative moves.
I just think that the possibilities are endless.
In the battle between Governor DeSantis and Disney. And the Panthers beginning their push through the playoffs. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
#18, 2023.
Live from the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Lines and waves as some in South Florida wait for gas and others deal with the aftermath of high water. After days of long waits, officials in Broward County say fuel deliveries are starting to get back to normal.
As the network's Leanne Abutarbush reports, it's all related to last week's flooding rainstorms.
I'm here in Edgewood, Fort Lauderdale, where the aftermath of the unprecedented flood has left homes submerged in water and cars stranded in the streets.
Yeah, we lost everything. We don't have bed, no furniture, nothing.
And the water was like?
Yes, up here. Yeah, right here on my upper leg. We went out through the window of the kitchen, and that's the way we were rescued by my nephew. I don't know what happened with the government. You know, we pay high tax over here, and we haven't been, I feel like, alone by myself. And everything, I see everybody is around this neighborhood of Edgewood, they feel the same. And we have been sleeping, the four of us, in one living room.
I watching the water coming from my backyard, and when I see it was close to the door, I went to my room, and my room was full of water, and then I went outside, and the water coming from the front door too. We escaped from this door. We opened the door to get out. I get one chair and put it outside, then I'm getting out. When we're getting out, the car was, all car around, everybody was involved on the kayak to getting out the house. I just had one bottle of Chardonnay, and I said, okay, I'm thirsty, I'm very tired. I will carry your bags and everything and clean the house. And now I had to, for my depression, I'm very depression about this happening.
When we evacuated and water was up to my knees. So we pulled the truck up and just got them and their emergency meds out. And then once the water started receding, we've come back once every day for the last 3 days. And this is our last trip. The car, at one point when we noticed, it was in about 1.5 inches of water sitting on the floorboards. So it had more at one point.
And it's not working now?
It's not at all. Won't turn over. You can't even lock the door electronically. So the insurance adjuster's here, but we're just getting the last of the must-haves. We were going to try to see if we could get something, to fix so they could stay, but with any rain, it's just getting worse. It's not, even though the water's receded, it's not any better.
Now, as the city struggles to recover, residents are left wondering how much longer are they going to endure this unpredictable and extreme weather. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network, I'm Leanne Abutarbush.
This morning was released from the hospital after being shot twice. As CNN Emily Schmidt reports, the only thing he did to put himself in danger was ring the doorbell at the wrong address.
Justice for Ralph! One word, one Kansas City block. That's all Ralph Yarl reportedly missed when he intended to pick up his younger siblings at Northeast 115th Terrace Thursday. And he rang the doorbell at Northeast 115th Street instead. A momentary error with major consequences.
He was a musician. He was an honor roll student. He had dreams of going to Texas A&M University.
Yarl was shot twice in the head and arm, according to his family lawyers. Now county prosecutors are charging Andrew Lester, a white man in his 80s who lives in the home, with 2 felonies, which includes 1 count of felony assault in the first degree.
As a result of these charges, a warrant was issued for Mr. Lester's arrest, and bond was set at $200,000.
Missouri is a state with stand your ground laws addressing homeowners who use lethal force to protect themselves. One of Jarl's lawyers argues that doesn't apply here.
Because there has been no conversation, not from the suspect, not from the victim, and not from law enforcement, that Ralph Jarl at 16 years old ever posed a threat to this shooter.
We understand how frustrating this has been, but I can assure you that the criminal justice system is working and will continue to work.
I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Florida's Republican-controlled legislature is fighting back in the war against Disney. According to Governor Ron DeSantis, the Republican-led state legislature will advance a bill allowing a state takeover of Disney-controlled land. Earlier this year, DeSantis tried to take control over a special tax district called the Reedy Creek Improvement District that gives Disney control over the land around it. The power was given back to Disney when the outgoing board members quietly stripped the incoming board members of its powers. The bill aims to nullify that, and the governor is looking for ideas on what to do with the land.
Come to think of it, now people are like, well, what should we do with this land? And so, it's like, okay, kids, people have said, maybe have maybe create a state park, maybe try to do more amusement parks. Someone even said, like, maybe you need another state prison. Who knows? I just think that the possibilities are endless.
There is disagreement over whether the action by the outgoing board was proper or even legal.
Increasing concerns this morning that political ideology could influence Supreme Court decisions, especially after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. In a special assignment report, the network's Natalie LaRoche-Pietri takes a closer look.
Many people were angry last summer when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and in the dockets they've accepted since then, one thing has become clear. This court will not be shying away from tackling major political issues. From abortion to election law cases, the court is expressing interest in cases that dramatically alter long-standing precedents. In the 2021 term, the court made more conservative decisions than it had since 1931, according to a study by professors from Washington University in St. Louis and the University of Michigan. The justices have largely made decisions along ideological lines. Justice Alito, for example, sided with his liberal colleagues only 10% of the time in the 2021 term. That, combined with the lack of moderate justices on the bench, is something that Professor Elizabeth Beskey from the Washington College of Law at American University considers a weakness of the court. When Beskey clerked for Justice Sandra O'Connor in 1994, she said that decisions were made on a case-by-case basis.
We don't have that kind of moderate, I'm going to call each case as I see it, I'm amenable to arguments wing of the court. I think this group has been battle tested and selected based on a particular their adherence and faithfulness to a particular agenda.
While it has improved since the Dobbs versus Jackson ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade, public opinion of the court is still not high. A poll by Marquette Law School in January found that 53% of adults disapprove of the way the High Court is handling its job. Beskey says that the court has had public legitimacy concerns at various points in history, like during the early 1930s progressive era, when an also conservative bench was striking down FDR's legislation.
We have the most conservative court that we've had in quite some time. And I think, if the country is sort of at a 50-50 razor's edge, we have a court that is out of step in its, polarization and in its conservative leanings, and they're not afraid to act on it.
Others feel differently. Attorney Troy Shelton from the Fox Rothschild law firm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and member of the Federalist Society, a national organization of conservative lawyers, says that a justice's ideology is key in the judicial process.
I certainly think that the court is independent of party and partisan politics. They have their own judicial philosophies. If someone's going to put aside their judicial philosophy, then I wonder how they're going to decide the cases at all.
A case that has received a lot of attention is Moore versus Harper. North Carolina residents sued the State Board of Elections and various Republican legislators for congressional redistricting that they argue is partisan gerrymandering. North Carolina legislators want the court to give them the power to set voting and election rules without any limits from state courts or other laws. Some fear that the case could critically change election laws across the U.S. and are calling it a threat to free democratic elections. Shelton says that the argument on whether the federal constitution can limit state courts' interpretations of their own constitutions is unusual, but the fear is overblown. Other issues the court has addressed include gun laws, climate change, and freedom of religion. The immediate and long-term influences of this court are already taking effect. From Washington, D.C., I'm Natalie LaRoche-Pietri for the South Florida Media Network.
The Marlins looking for a win to get back above 500.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Top of the slot, Zaka passed it off, a one-timer by Crazy. Pasternak scores!
The Panthers had to overcome some bad luck as they face the #1 team in the NHL. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
See us dream. See us remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantor.
The Panthers were looking for an opportunity last night as one of the key players for the Boston Bruins had to sit out Game 1 of the playoffs. The Florida Panthers looking to come back from a rough start in the playoffs against the Boston Bruins.
The Cats didn't have as much luck playing the first seed being the 8th seed in their first game of the playoff series. The Bruins were the first to score with a goal in the first period and extended the lead by 2 in the second period. Then the Panthers' own Matthew Tkachuk responded with a goal of his own, and there was hope for a comeback. But with another Bruins goal in the third period, it was pretty much the nail in the coffin for the Cats. The final score was Panthers 1, Bruins 3. The Panthers will stay in Boston to play their second game of the series tomorrow at 7:30.
On the diamond, the Marlins found their stride at home last night against San Francisco. It was a giant effort put together by the Fish before Jazz Chisholm sent in the first run for Miami after being down 3-0 in the third inning. A home run and some extra runs helped the Marlins rally back to score their 9th win of the season. The Fish took care of business with a final score of Marlins 4, Giants 3. The Marlins in South Florida stay in South Florida for their second game against the San Francisco Giants tonight at 6:40 p.m. You're watching SFMN Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
Well, that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Hawa Ezel.
I'm Kelly Sanchez. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.